I have no camera again. I apologize for that. I'm by my work computer, and I still don't have a webcam for that. I just wanted to share a few stories. I am going to change a few details to protect the identity since these were off the record talks, but the basic and important details are true. I was just speaking to a colleague who runs a very successful hedge fund. He's returned almost 30% net in the past 8 years. Last year, he had a ridiculous return. It was over 80%. Uh, the way he does it is very concentrated, uh, small mid cap positions. It's nothing esoteric, so the numbers are real. And we'll get to that another time on hedge fund auditing. And he just told me he was down a lot in Q1 because the portfolio is very volatile. But he said, I saw his Q2 letter and I said, can we do something on this? And he said, I don't know. We weren't. So his Q2, he was up slightly. He was basically positive. He was up 0.4% net, and the S&P's up like 2.3 through H1. And he said, I don't know, it doesn't look so good. We're not on a hot streak. And I'm like, you're positive for the year. I didn't want to pressure him because there's a close colleague of mine, and I value it more than just doing one story. So, but I said I think it looks good, and he said I think we'll wait till we're up more. So I hope he'll be up, and a lot of his positions are pretty good regardless of the market. But I think that shows where we are in the cycle. I also was speaking to someone who manages a bigger fund. He's a little bit famous. Again, we're going to redact some details, but about a month ago, I had lunch with someone who runs over $1 billion, CEO, founder. He's been in the markets for since the 80s, and he started his own hedge fund early 90s when there were very few hedge funds. And he told me this is by far the most difficult market ever. And he was saying, and you might have seen this elsewhere, this is not an isolated sentiment, but basically, managers are in a cash 22 because the markets aren't going down. So, how do hedge funds outperform? They're all you have to be really concentrated, and if that's not your style and you want to be more diversified, even if it's not 50 stocks, 2% in each, but the other fund I was mentioning has like one stock is 30% of their portfolio, let's say. And this the second hedge fund, the one I'm talking about now, he doesn't take that concentrated positions. His are more like 10%. He says unless you nail those FANG stocks, which is not his style, it's almost impossible to go up. Forget about forget about what's it called, shorts and hedging. Almost no hedge funds do that anymore. And about that, I was reading a letter from RBI Capital, and they had a shocking stat. This was from a few months ago, but there are less than 10 short biased hedge funds around. RBI Capital said they got that from their prime broker, and their prime broker was a pretty big name, like decent sized name like Jeffries. So from I just wanted to give the latest on hedge fund perspectives on hedge funds from the perspective of hedge fund letters and conversations. And we have a lot of good hedge fund coverage. We don't charge a lot of money. And again, I want to say something very clear. There are some people who think that we just post letters without permission, and I that is 100% not true. No, we never post the full letter unless there's some type of understanding with the fund. Some funds don't like it, but they'll accept it. Some funds beg us to, but we never post a full PDF of the letter unless there's some type of communication with the phone on the topic. And you should check out our hedge fund letters, our archive. We spend hours upon hours of work every quarter, making it better, and we update it every single day. And I don't mean to pitch our own product. I know Security Analysis has a great one, and obviously pitching my book, but we have a lot more than them. And also, we have all the big names. Like we have Lakewood today. It's not the full PDF, but it's a lot of good coverage of the letter. We also have done some recent profiles on Universa, which their letter is impossible to get. And we basically we have it in full. It was their 10-year anniversary, and that's the hedge fund that earned $1 billion during the flash crash of 2015. And yeah, so those are just some of the updates, and you could check it out. We only charge $80 a year if you are into reading hedge funds for ideas, or you're an allocator. If you're an allocator, also we could talk. I have another venture. I know a lot of good emerging hedge fund managers, and that's separate. But if you're involved in hedge fund in any capacity, or you just want to read a lot of good ideas, you should check out the link below. And we're gonna try to do a live, YouTube live, so you guys could ask me questions. Uh, I like to do stuff that's a little bit off the radar. When something is in the news all over, I kind of bore of the topic. So I want to do something. It's more historical, an observation I've made that no one's really expressed it the way I have, and more politically neutral, but I think it's interesting and has to do with Russian history. And I always have more topics, and I'm happy to talk about other topics. Just hit me up and tell me what you want. Our YouTube channel is very new, so it's hard. I want to do these podcasts, whatever you want to call them, but it's hard to justify it to myself, even 5 minutes a day, if there's like no audience. So I'm waiting till our channel gets built up a bit more before I start really bringing out the big guns and stuff. But I think these are interesting tidbits. And RBI Capital, we do have coverage on that letter, and that's a fascinating stat. You basically can't make money being short if the market's been up for 8 9 years, 10 years now. It's if you have any type of hedge, that's going to kill you. And if you're short bias, forget about it. That is some big names have folded, like the Dialectical, great hedge fund. Uh, I have a funny story. I will save that for next time. If you want to hear a funny story about Dialectical, it's a good story. They're very smart guys. I will tell it on the next podcast, so stay tuned.